Hi, everyone. It's Beth Farnham, Democratic candidate for Pennsylvania's 13th Congressional District. I'm here today on this cold Monday to talk about a couple of bills from the House of Representatives. But before I do want to make sure that we take a moment to honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who was a civil rights leader who worked very hard to gain equality for not only African Americans, but all American people, that we continue to have democratic voting norms and rights and that we maintain them. So it's important to take a moment to honor him today. If you get a chance, maybe watch the movie Selma. You can also visit certain websites like the King Center. And then there's a Dr. Martin Luther King center out of Stanford that also lists many of his works to read. I highlight a letter from a Birmingham jail. So I hope you get a chance to do that. And then let's dive right into these bills. So the first bill we have is H.R. 28. Now, this bill has actually already passed through the House and it's on its way to the Senate. But I do want to bring it forward because it's indicative of the types of um, patterns and things that I think we'll see, the assertions being made, and they need to be countered. It's very important that we counter false assertions that are coming through legislation. And this is legislation for our country. When I say House of Representatives, I do mean out of Washington, D.C. So I'm going to share my screen here. Okay, so this H.R. 28 is an act to amend the Education Amendments of 1972 to provide that for purposes of determining compliance with Title IX of such act in athletics, sex shall be recognized based solely on a person's reproductive biology and genetics at birth. This act may be cited as the Protection of Women and Girls Act. Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act of 2025. Now, what's important to note here is that they talk about reproductive biology and genetics at birth. So, what we need to do is come to an understanding of what happens at birth and how our sexes are determined. Think about it. It's been this way since the beginning of time. A person is born, and those who are looking at this new person, this baby, are looking at the external genitalia and making a determination based on what they see on the outside of the body. Generally, we fall into groups of males or females, but the fact is, there are a lot of people in between. So we don't have a binary distribution of the sexes, we have a bimodal distribution of the sexes. Just because we see certain genitalia on the outside does not guarantee that the reproductive organs on the inside match the sex of that genitalia. Someone may be born with male genitalia but have internal sex organs that are female. And the reverse is true. You can have someone who looks female on the outside but have male reproductive organs on the inside. So just because we have certain genitalia present on the outside does not guarantee our reproductive biology. And we're not getting these blood tests right away when we're born. We're not getting genotyped for our sex. So it's really important to understand that a lot of the information that you're seeing about when someone is boy or girl, most of it's true but it is based on the external genitalia. So I do want you to keep that in mind. And then as we go through the bill, it says, it shall be a violation of subsection A for a recipient of federal financial assistance who operates, sponsors, or facilitates athletic programs or activities to permit a person whose sex is male to participate in an athletic program or activity that is designed for women or girls. So the next thing to call out about this bill is that this is not going both ways. This is really coming down on trans women. i.e., those assigned male at birth who identify as female and therefore are participating in the sports for women or girls. And so this bill is to take away federal funding from those sports programs if a trans female is on their team. But it says nothing about trans males on males teams. And part of that are some underlying assumptions. The people who created this bill are assuming that if someone is trans female, somehow they have all the male characteristics of more musculature or height, and therefore are going to be superior in the sport, or later they asserted might sexually assault the females of the team. But you have to understand what's happening in our society is that when a child identifies differently from the sex they were assigned at birth, they are coming to the adults in their lives and they are saying, I am this other sex. And so when that happens, it's understood that, since they're minors, maybe they can't really make a full decision about the sex they're deciding to present to the world. And so more often than not, they're put on puberty blockers, which prevents those primary sex characteristics from coming through as we would normally see through puberty. So what we would assume for male puberty is, greater height, more musculature, but a lot of that is delayed as the child is on the puberty blockers. And then when that child turns 18, they may make different decisions about how they will present to the world. So you have to understand that not every trans female is going to come in bigger, taller, stronger, faster. And if they're 18 or over, if they decide that they are trans female, then it's very possible that they will be on female hormones, in which case they will more often than not be struggling mightily with their physique. There are a lot of complications when you go on sex hormones, especially estrogen and progesterone. So these are not easy transitions. And so we don't want to make these assumptions that somehow they're going to do better. And the statistics have borne out. Trans females do not inherently do better on female sports teams. Um, uh, you'll have to do the research on some of the sports, but it's definitely not happening in Pennsylvania's 13th congressional district, and it's rarely happening that there are trans females on sports teams anywhere in the United States. So please keep these in mind. This is extremely, extremely small population of the United States we're talking about. Okay, now I want to also address and then there's another thing that I want to talk about. It's inspections. Sometimes there are girls and women who just are naturally stronger, bigger, faster. They may naturally have deeper voices, less hair on their heads. They may present as less feminine than a trad wife. And so it's really important also that we're not monitoring how they present themselves to the world. So you have to ask, how would you prove someone is a particular sex or not assigned at birth if you don't have their birth certificate or their parents had their sex changed? But it's really a call against masculine presenting those assigned female at birth. So, the solution in a terrifying state is to do genital inspections, and we definitely don't want that. But that's where we're headed. Genital inspections of girls and women by basically creeps, just to prove that there aren't trans females among them. And we just can't have that. We're talking a very small population of Americans might present as it might be trans, and then we would be forfeiting the privacy of our daughters and sisters, just to have that reassurance that a penis would not be on that team. So it just that's That's an insane idea. So, but we're headed there if this bill passes with the Senate. So please call your senators and ask them to vote no on HR 28. Now, one of the other parts of HR 28 that it asserts is that the girls would possibly be assaulted sexually. I'm trying to, there we are. Okay. Free, an environment free of hostility based on sexual assault or harassment. Again, it is incorrect to say that trans females are assaulting or sexually harassing females on sports teams. But it is extremely important to identify when females are being harassed or assaulted sexually. So, in Pennsylvania's 13th congressional district, I've gone around looking for examples of when people in our district have been assaulted sexually, females. And I looked for sports in particular. I didn't find a lot of sports, but I found recent stories of people sexually assaulting um, minors in Pennsylvania's 13th congressional district. But here's what I found. So the first one I found, and I'm going to show this article with you. Hold on. Okay, so the first example I have here is from Adams County, and it is that Adams County babysitter is accused of sexually abusing a child. His name is Andrew Austin. He's 29 of Hanover, allegedly exposed himself and sexually assaulted the child he was watching on the weekend. So state police say that he recorded himself sexually assaulting the child while they were sleeping, and the videos were discovered on his Snapchat account by the parents. He faces felony charges of aggravated indecent assault of a child, aggravated indecent assault. Complainant is unconscious or unaware the penetration is occurring. Child pornography and photograph film depict on computer child sex acts. So that is Adams County. And that article is recently, that was from December. So this past December, that is when he was charged. There was another case in Adams County, but I'll get to that later. Let me get to the next one. And this is going to be Franklin. All right. In Franklin County, we have local man charged after assaulting, recording 10-year-old girl nude. So we have a local man. Let's see. A mother told troopers that her 10-year-old daughter approached her after work crying and said 23-year-old Alter Tiem had touched her inappropriately. And then the girl told troopers she was in a camper behind the residence in the 600 block of Black Gap Road with her siblings. He recorded her with a cell phone while she was changing after swimming in the pool. Later, when she was sleeping, the girl said that's when he had her pants down and touched her inappropriately. The girl said he told her not to tell anyone. All right. The next one I have is from Fulton County, and this one is sports related. Okay, so this particular story isn't as recent, but I still want to share it because it is sports related, and we are talking about minors being victims here. So here was an example of someone victimizing minors. We have the ex-McConnellsburg High School coach charged with sexually assaulting a student. So the former athletic director and varsity boys basketball coach at McConnellsburg High School, this is from 2016, had been accused of having a sexual relationship with a student. He was 33 when he was charged, and the student was 17. And the girl said he knew her age at the time. So that's that particular story. Let's see, sexually assaulting. They had a relationship. Yeah, for more. Let's see, and the student told police that contact between her and Pollock began in the summer of 2015 when they communicated through Facebook. At school, they spoke about tennis, occasionally basketball. They admitted they liked each other. He told her to prove it and to send him nude photos, the affidavit said. They exchanged nude photos, maintained contact. So, let's see, that summer they had sexual relations, the document said. So here we have a minor, and she's being assaulted by a trusted male figure in the sports program. Okay, and here we are in Bedford County. This story, let me get it here. It's from this January, this month. So it's only a few weeks ago. We're talking about Bedford County, and a Hindman man is facing charges after he allegedly had a sexual relationship with a 15-year-old girl. Anthony Thomas, 58, is facing charges after police were contacted by Children, Youth, and Services about a teen who admitted to a health professional that they were pregnant after having a sexual relationship with Thomas. So we have a 58-year-old male who preyed on a 15-year-old girl in Bedford County. Okay, moving on up to Cambria County. This story is from September 2024. Revlock man arrested for sexual assault. Police say 40-year-old Joshua Foreman of Revlock sent sexual text messages to a 15-year-old girl. He is charged with felonies and misdemeanors for corruption of minors and harassment. Okay, and now we move on to Blair County, where we have the Bellwood Antis School District athletic director and wrestling coach charged with endangering students, covering up sexual abuse at school. So we have a particular, the athletic director who is covering up the sexual abuse by one of the wrestling coaches. So the junior high wrestling coach, Ryan Blazier, was convicted of sexual assault and sentenced to decades in prison in June 2023. And this is a follow-up story in January of last year. So then they filed felony charges against Charles Birch and Timothy Andrikovic, who were the school's athletic director and head varsity wrestling coaches, respectively, at the time of the offenses. So they were charged with intimidating a witness for threatening a student victim of Blazers if the victim told anyone about the allegations. And then Andrikovic is 59, is charged with endangering the welfare of children for failing to adequately carry out a safety plan during the investigation into Blazer's sexual assaults, allowing Blazer to have continued unsupervised access to students. So let's just revisit here. We have several men in their 50s, basically creating an environment that's hostile to victims and rewards the abusive coaches. All right, and now we have Huntingdon County, and this story is from October 2024. We have a Huntingdon County sex offender who's behind bars after being accused of having a sexual relationship with a 14-year-old girl. They say that the victim's mother reportedly discovered a series of sexual messages between the teen and 35-year-old Max Brooks of Mapleton Depot. So police say the victim admitted to engaging in sexual activity with Brooks on multiple occasions. He is listed on the Megan's Law registry, but discovered he had not updated his contact information and was using a different phone number to message the victim. So initially he denied it, but he was having sex with the victim. Again, this is Huntingdon, and this is a 35-year-old male. Then all right, we've got Mifflin County coming up. This story is from November of this past year. Mifflin County man accused of sexually abusing 2 children and performing sex acts on dog. So let's see here. We have Lewistown police say 21-year-old Sean Mellott allegedly assaulted 2 children in recent weeks. Do we have ages on the girls? A young girl on multiple occasions at a home in Lewistown Borough. He admitted abuse, claimed that a relative had reportedly witnessed one of the assaults. He was reportedly pleasuring himself during the alleged assault. Then a second victim came forward to report that he had allegedly sexually assaulted them, pinned the child down, and rubbed his genitals on the child's face. Additionally, there are alleged bestiality incident with Mellat reportedly performed sexual acts on his family dogs. Police say multiple family members reportedly witnessed the alleged incident. Officials say Mellat is facing a variety of charges, including rape, statutory sexual assault, involuntary deviant sexual intercourse, and sexual intercourse with an animal. All right, moving on to Juniata County. We have a story here from January 2023. It is sports related. A Juniata County teacher's aide has pleaded guilty to charges related to the possession of child pornography. The Pennsylvania Office of the Attorney General announced Wednesday. They had served as a substitute teacher and aide at Juniata High School in Juniata County and Newport High School in Perry County. So that's two counties in Pennsylvania's 13th Congressional District. And let's see, he pled guilty of furnishing alcohol to minors. So we have, he was 20 years old at the time of the alleged offenses, hosted a party at his home where he furnished alcohol to minors using a false identification card. During the party, he captured photographs and videos of minors engaged in sexual activity. So this is about the third time that child pornography has popped up in our district in these stories. Again, these are the types of sexual assaults that are happening to minors in Pennsylvania's 13th Congressional District. We haven't finished yet. We have a little bit more, including some extra bestiality. Okay, so the next story we have is from April of this past year. Former Central Pennsylvania Kids baseball coach accused of sexually abusing 15-year-old. So Jeremy Baum, age 46, was charged on March 20th, 24 with sexually abusing a 15-year-old boy, this happens to be a boy, in Perry County. So he was performing sex acts on a teenage boy and his state police were notified about the abuse when the boy told his father what had happened. The boy told troopers later that day that he met Baum on Grindr, a dating app geared toward gay men and bisexual men. They moved the conversation to Snapchat and talked about sexual activity. So the 15-year-old boy told Baum he was 16, which is an age of consent for sexual activity, but only with someone who's, I believe, 17 or 18 years old. And we've got some Romeo and Juliet laws here in Pennsylvania. Baum asked the teen repeatedly if he worked in law enforcement. Baum, 46, told the teen he was 33. So Baum came over to the boy's house in work clothes, boots, and covered in sawdust. They went into an upstairs bedroom and performed sex acts on one another. And so he tried contacting the boy again, but the boy told his parents what was going on. So thank goodness for that. This is not about someone being homosexual. This is, again, just a white man, middle-aged, preying on a minor. This minor happened to be a boy, but again, this is the type of sexual assault that's happening to minors in Pennsylvania's 13th Congressional. All right, our next assaulter here comes from Cumberland County. This person, Marshall Mixel, is 49 from Shippensburg, which is in Pennsylvania's 13th Congressional District. And he previously pled guilty to involuntary deviant sexual intercourse of a child, aggravated indecent assault of a child, and 2 counts of endangering the welfare of children. It's been revealed that he sexually abused 2 separate young victims. He was sentenced but he can be classified, he will be classified as a sexually violent predator. So that is the last of our trip around Pennsylvania's 13th congressional district. I decided not to choose Somerset County, and that's because we have about 1,000 voters there, and frankly, you're getting the idea of the kinds of sexual assaults that happen in our district. I did promise one more story here. This is again out of Adams County. So back in, I think it was October. Oh, well, this is the update from January of this year, but I believe it was October that, how should I put this? A bus was pulled over in Adams County and it contained all these animals. And it became very clear that a few of the animals had been sexually traumatized. So there are two people charged with over 200 counts of sexual abuse, bestiality. The criminal complaint says 3 dogs, a duck, a chicken, and a pony died, while the pony and the bull were sexually traumatized. And the two people, I think he's 50 something, she's 60 something. He faced a total of 123 charges, while she faces a total of 129 charges. And those charges include aggravated cruelty to animals, criminal conspiracy, and 2 firearm charges. Misdemeanor charges include criminal conspiracy, cruelty to animals, neglect of animals, and vet care online court records show. So again, these are the types of sexual assaults that happen in Pennsylvania's 13th district, but not just here, all around the country. And if you notice the pattern, it's a lot of middle-aged white men identifying as men. This is not a trans issue, and they are preying on minors. They are frequently recording their acts, and they are frequently engaging with minors who are unconscious or asleep. In the case of the animals, obviously, no minor and no animal can give consent. So these are predatory men. And again, this is what we're facing. But that's not what the bill is about. The bill is targeting trans females. So hopefully, through this very painful exercise, you can get a sense of just what is actually happening versus what you might hear from your news source. So to be very clear, I would not have voted for HR 28. It is not based in reality as far as I'm concerned. There's so much more work that needs to be done with regards to protecting children from sexual assault, but it's not from the trans people. All right, now we're going to move on to HR 30, which is another act coming up here. All right, and this act is to amend the Immigration and Nationality Act to provide that aliens who have been convicted of or who have committed sex offenses or domestic violence are inadmissible and deportable. So it's very important. Some words kind of leap out here: convicted, committed. We want to make sure we still have in place innocent until proven guilty by a court of law. So once they are convicted, they are pronounced guilty by a court of law. In that case, those undocumented immigrants do not need to stay here, and they do not need to be on our tax bill sitting in the jails. They are deportable at that time. That still costs us money, but maybe just not as long as sitting in jail. So we still want to make sure that they leave our country safely. Again, this act may be cited as the Preventing Violence Against Women by Illegal Aliens Act, but frankly, I would amend that: Preventing Violence Against Anyone by Illegal Aliens Act. And a lot of people know it as the Laken Riley Act. It's important to understand anyone can be a victim of crime. So it really doesn't matter if it's a woman or a man. I don't want to see undocumented immigrants who have been convicted of crimes, staying in our jail because they assaulted a man instead of a woman. Let them not assault anyone. So I would vote for HR 30 with some amendments. There'll probably be some more amendments on this. Right now, it's under consideration. It has not passed the House yet. So just wanted to bring that up here. All right, so let's let's at least have some fun because all right, so we're going to switch gears here and do something a little bit fun. Just want to remind you that there are great things that happen in Pennsylvania's 13th Congressional District. So, one of the things I'd like to highlight about my own home county is the Adams County Winery. And tomorrow, January 21st, they're going to have a gold medal tour, and they're also going to have the Vintners Reserve tour at in downtown Gettysburg. There's going to be a Civil War ghosts, booze and booze haunted pub crawl, and so that's going to start at 5:45 p.m. The historic Welty House ghost hunt will take place at 9 p.m. and also Hidden Memories tours will begin at LaFauver Street in Gettysburg tomorrow. There's some pages about that, and you can get more details about all of this at destinationgettysburg.com. So I want you to get out there, no matter, even though it's really, really cold, there's a lot of fun you can have in and around Gettysburg. So please don't forget that. Last but not least, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, Unite PA 13. And if you'd like to donate, please donate to Beth Farnham for Congress at Act Blue. So thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll be doing more of this. See you soon.